This is ACOFAE.
Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present a collection of fandoms and exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode has spoilers for V for Vendetta with mentions of 1984, Animal Farm, The Mandalorian, and Sherlock. For full list, please see show notes. There is also discussion surrounding sexual assault and sexual assault on minors. Please be advised.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to ACOFAE, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing the 2005 classic V for Vendetta,
which is based off of a DC Comics, like their Vertigo series, limited series from the 80s. And here we are talking about it now. Definitely, I'm excited that we get to explore it a little bit more. Something that was supposed to be dystopian, not so dystopian. But this came out, it was supposed to come out on the anniversary of Guy Fawkes Day, and it came out like March 17th, 2005. So here we are 20 plus years later, having the conversation and sharing kind of like where we're going, what happens next, and our first experiences watching this, because per usual, I watched it for the first time for this episode. I watched it twice. But Laura, you have more of a history with this a little bit.
Well, it's very funny because Jessica Marie told me my history before. It was very funny. Before we started recording, she goes, Laura Marie, and you saw this in the theater. I know that. And I was like, damn. She goes, yeah, and I know the person that you saw it with, and I know, like, after when you came back, like, I know. And I was like, I know. Okay, you do know. You do know. I saw this in the theater. Specifically, it's the theater behind Gators. If you know, you know. It's probably not there anymore, but whatever. And I saw it with a specific friend that's not a friend anymore, and a bunch of dudes, man. And it was fun. It was one of those fun movies where it was very enjoyable to kind of go on this journey. It felt very like different and fresh at the time. It felt like fantasy. It felt like escapism. It felt like this alternate universe, you know, dystopian England. That's different. That's fun. It was really just an amazing experience, and one that didn't take very seriously at the time.
Because why would you?
Why? I was not at an age. Actually, you know, honestly, I was at the perfect age to dissect this when it came out. Absolutely perfect age, but the times were good during that time. It was a nice time to be alive. Things were nice. And so this like doom and threat and this feeling of really relating to the subject matter that I feel now didn't exist then. So it is, just as you say, interesting and fun to talk about it now when it is so relevant that it is horrifying sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, a lot of times, because I feel like the first time I was watching this, I wanted to stop so often because I wanted to just kind of write everything that V, our main character, one of our main characters, is saying, because he goes on his monologues as he should, and you're getting, and you stop, and I would have to tell myself, nope, just keep going with it. I know you're angry, because again, this is set, and then, you know, I think they describe it as a dystopian, near-distant future in the UK. And at the same time, when it's released in 2005, you're like, okay, quote-unquote, near future. This is one of those things that feels like it's from the past, from previous dictatorships, previous, fascist regimes, but not now. We've moved beyond that. Or so you're thinking, I assume, in 2005. I did not watch this then. And also, again, in 2005, I wasn't in a headspace that I was even thinking about politics. It was just something that was there. I wasn't even of voting age. So it was just very, very different. And now, watching it for the first time, as I'm writing all my quotes down, I go, this isn't dystopian. This isn't theoretical. This isn't fun. Or it's, to what Laura said, fun, question mark, that we're able to dissect it now because of how applicable it is. And of course, when you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat itself. So here we are in 2026, trying to get our kicks.
Trying to get our kicks in 2026. I want it stated now that when Jessica Marie and I are recording this, it's a Sunday, and the next Sunday, we are recording 1984. And I want to say that now because next week I'm going to reference this episode and I'm going to say Jessica Marie, right? And you're going to go, oh my God. And this is going to be a fun full circle moment, and I'm planting the seed now.
Well, I already felt that way when I read my first George Orwell with Animal Farm. And I was just like, hello? Am I going crazy? And you're like, no, you're supposed to be upset. That is actually the point. And then you're just sitting here like, I can't believe I didn't read that. This was not my required reading growing up. And, you know, in true fashion, most of the time we were like, okay, that's something of the past. I'm very excited to read 1984 for our episode next week. I'm also kind of scared.
As you should be. Now, here in V for Vendetta, there is something wonderful that has happened. In the years since this movie has come out, and Jess, you have experienced it because we talked about it before we started recording. V for Vendetta has kind of transcended its life as a movie and has moved into, this symbolic hood. It's symbolic now. Even if you have never seen the movie, just you had never seen the movie, you knew that The Mask and the movie were related.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was related. I knew the iconology behind this. I also knew, when I say the barest of bones, I mean I knew the title, and then I knew vigilante. That's all I needed to know. So it felt like, that seems like a pretty badass movie. And then I just kind of kept on with life. At the same time, sometimes I'm like watching it and I go, I understand where he's coming from. I don't know if I am hating on any of his decisions. I don't know what that means about me.
And the other part of this too is the other symbol that, and it starts off, the movie perfectly too, is we have the symbol of V and his mask. And when you step away from the movie, everybody knows that. And then you have Natalie Portman, being bald as fuck. And when you step away from this movie and into the general like pop culture zeitgeist, everybody associates bald Natalie Portman with this movie. So those two things have become symbols of this movie, which is wonderful because the whole thing about this movie is like an idea and how like ideas like transcend the person that start them, and like ideas can't die, they live on. And I love that those two things have, transcended what this movie is and like really permeated into the culture. And that is just like really fun because, and Jess, you got to experience that when you pull it all back in and watch it and you put it all together, you're like, oh, I see. And then at the end, spoiler, when the whole populace has the masks on and they're marching, you feel it. You're like, yes. And, he's giving a speech to empty houses because everybody is marching. You're like, yes, more of this. This is what it is. This is what we should be doing. And you really feel that because Hugo Weaving in a mask.
I should not be giggling. We were talking about this before we started
I'm
recording.
giggling. My feet are kicking.
We were talking about this before we started recording, and I was like, the V for Vendetta to Mask Kink pipeline is not very long. I can see if this was someone's awakening to be like, oh, and you're spewing poetry that I am eating up. I get it now. And again, there were moments where I go, there's going to be this romantic subplot. And then I would have to reel it in. I'd be like, shame on you, Jessica. This is a movie about anarchy. There is no room for romance and anarchy. We are rising up and resisting our government. And then we still got romance. And I go, oh, okay, I was right. Yay.
Well, it's impossible to resist all these words that Hugo Weaving are saying, because, I mean, his voice, his cadence, just the way that, okay. Look, I know it's not a new thing. I know Pedro Pascal is doing it in the Mandalorian. I get it, right? People, the Ninja Turtles when we were kids. I get it. Like, I understand acting. I understand. But there's something about like a theater trained. There's something about it. You can just like, I want that man to recite Shakespeare kind of thing. I feel the same way with Patrick Stewart. I feel the same way with Ian McKellen. Just recite to me. You have it. That's how I felt the whole time. I was just basking in everything that he was saying. Natalie Portman folded way longer. I would have been like, boo.
Oh, see, and there were certain parts where she really resisted, because even when he goes, look, you're going to have to live with me for a year. I go, okay, we're going to have some Stockholm syndrome going on here. No. Then when he saved her from, trigger warning, the rapist bishop, and she still was like, at that point, I would have been like, go, get him. I could not, she did not. I don't want to say she's better than us. No, like I would have been on that trail. We are a duo now, very much so. But to what you said, I think there's like, it almost feels like you have a level of acting, and then there are thespians, and that's what he feels like in this.
And that's necessary, because you have to like really permeate that mask. And I know it's like dubbed or whatever, because they tried all the different ways to like record everything and it didn't work. But like just to have that, I mean, the level of skill is just amazing. Again, as I say all the time, Laura Marie, I can never be an actor. ACOFAE podcast. It's important. But let's get into this movie. The 1812 overture is very important here. The music is very important. And the story of Guy Fawkes, I don't know what they teach in social studies or civics anymore, but I hope they still teach this, and they still teach the rhyme of Guy Fawkes, 1605, trying to blow up Parliament on the 5th of November. Natalie Portman's voiceover, I have to say, she's got this fuck-ass English accent, and I hate it. I hate this fuck-ass English accent that she does. She does the same one in the other Boleyn girl when she plays Anne Boleyn in 2008, I think, maybe. It's the same one. It's like she's throwing the words at the back of her teeth. It's painful for me. Even Jess was like, I think she's struggling a little bit with it. I was like, yeah, you're being generous.
Yeah, it definitely, there are certain, actors out there where you don't get pulled away from the role. You're just kind of in it. And I did not feel in it with her. That's the nicest thing I could say. It's just like, it threw me off. Granted, it's a movie. We know I don't need a lot of highbrow things to enjoy a movie. So I kind of went with it, but it was very interesting. When you're amongst this prestigious ass cast, Laura, you love to say, there's only so many actors in England.
There's only so many actors in England. There really are so many actors in England. Oh my God, John Hurt. Oh my God, R.I.P. R.I.P. But that's the thing though. And it is unfortunate that the only woman character in this, is not quite up to par with all these men, but like, whatever. She holds her own for what she's got here. And what she has is a storyline where she works at the news, essentially. And the news is a government entity, a part of the branch of the government. And Jess has a fantastic quote about that.
I mean, one of the opening quotes when we know, because I didn't also realize that this, I think initially I thought it was going to be like a period piece, like very Count of Monte Cristo kind of thing. And then when we go into the newsroom, I go, oh, it's modern. Okay, this is interesting. But we have somebody, one of the producers in our broadcast segment saying, our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job.
That's the government's job. So it really sets the tone. And our voiceover, our new, there's news playing in the background as both V and Natalie Portman get ready for their nights, which is just, really lovely. We see our two characters, mask on, makeup on, clothes on, dress on, shoes on, knives on. It's just, boo, 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 boo.
I love the contrast, but they're like both wearing their armor at the same time.
Exactly. It's lovely. But the news is telling us that the former United States is begging for medical supplies and they will trade wheat and tobacco. And, we think that we should say fuck all to the colonies and, because England prevails, strength through unity through faith. And that really sets the dystopian, alternate kind of universe that we're in here. And of course, we're in London, and it is dark. It's rainy. There are police. The way that it is filmed is, I was thinking it's kind of Dr. Strangelove-esque, but, we will get to 1984. We will see. But the news reports are like, the gays, the immigrants, the Muslims, they all had to go. What do we do? We're straying through this. And it's setting the background for everything. And it's like, that was fantasy.
Well, I mean, again, watching it in 2005, it's very much in 2005, if you're watching it, you're thinking, this is a thing of the past. I've learned about World War II. We're never going to go back there. Flash forward to February 2026 when we're having this conversation.
Yep. So there's a curfew, obviously. Of course there's a curfew. Of course, it's not a free society. But Natalie Portman is, she's on her way to go see her boss. But that is like kind of revealed later and is evident on a second watch when you know what's going on, and why she's sneaking over there. But Evie is caught by the fingermen, and they're called the fingermen because the police are the hand and the government is the body, and it's all these different parts. And it is, we'll see that again. And that's a motif. We'll see that again. But she is going to be assaulted by these fingermen. Yes, they make that perfectly clear. Everybody knows this. And V steps in and saves her and goes on this monologue where he uses, 48 V words in this monologue?
Yeah, I have never known prose the way he's done this. The alliteration. I'm impressed when people use 2 or 3 in a sentence. His monologue, I was like, this is impressive. And I was trying to look for the script to be like, am I going to recount this for this episode? I am not. But it is definitely take the time. I'm sure to memorize this amongst many other reasons where you and I always say I could never be an actor. This is one of them as well.
Yeah, this is one of them as well. Because it's amazing. Because he's also sassy. He's also who are you? I'm a man in a mask. That should be obvious. Right. Right.
I why would I tell you who I am? Clearly I don't want you to know. I'm obsessed. She's like, Point taken. Touche, sir. Touche, hot mess man.
She's like, are you a crazy person? Are you a crazy person? I'm doing it because that's her accent. And that's what she sounds like.
They'll probably say that. Which, again, is
person?
already continuing to set up the conversation that the government, as we know, is controlling all of the narrative. So, of course, they're going to go out and say, yeah, I am probably crazy.
And something that I really love, too, is that is Evie, Natalie Portman as Evie, is really real here because this man just gave her this intense monologue describing essentially his life's goal and purpose. But like, she doesn't know that yet in all of the words. And then when he's done, he's like, you can call me V. And then he's like, hey, do you want to go like listen to some music with me? You want to like go like, on this like date with me essentially? And she's like, sure. Yeah. And she's real for that. She's real because she's looking around and she's like, you know what? Like, yeah. And then she gets up there in a very Fight Club-esque scene, watches the Bailey explode. And I mean, the feeling, you can tell in her face. I mean, Natalie Portman's a fantastic actress where she's like, oh my God, what did I get into? Like, oh my God, what? But that was a crazy moment.
And it's that moment, too, where she's like, he didn't just bring me up to see this. Like, he orchestrated this, which is
like
magical question mark.
Yeah. It's nuts. So it's November the 5th. So he's telling Natalie Portman about November the 5th, and 1812 starts playing over the speakers. You know, he hacked in, he's playing over the speakers, and we get kind of introduced to like side characters that we will see briefly through the rest of the movie, including the girl who pops her head out. You know, she says like, oh my gosh, you know what's playing, whatever. A detail here is that the justice that is on top of the Bailey is not wearing her blindfold, indicating that justice is not blind here. So that's just kind of like a dystopian little situation. And then it explodes. And
oh, because I focused on the part interesting with the statue, with not just like justice not being blind, but they went to the children's hospital first. Like they went to the moniker of St. Mary's, and then they went to the, justice, the statue. And I took it. I didn't even like put the two together that she's not blinded. I took it as she saw that and still look at the world that we live in, which I mean, is it literally, but I didn't even, it's the same thing, but I didn't even realize and process that, yeah, that's right. Justice is usually mass. That's how you have an equal balance.
Mm-hmm. It just little details. It's really good. Then we have the government meeting, which is the introduction to all of the like branches of our government and our head chancellor, John Hurt, who's so scary here. Oh my God, he's so scary as the chancellor, yelling at all of these men. And the way that they are lit makes them look evil. It's like all black around them and like a spotlight right on their faces. Like this is very reminiscent of other like old timey movies. And it goes around saying like, what are we going to do? How are we going to spin this? What is going on? Can we find this person, to all of these heads of government? And then we have the inspector who is going to be our good guy who ends up turning, for Natalie Portman, woohoo, revolution at the end. But we see like his colleagues, and they're all scary as hell.
I mean, all of the colleagues are scary. And it's not a mockery, but in the movie Austin Powers, how we have our evil villain layer. That's what this feels like, except this is not satire. This is very much lived in. We're controlling the government. We're creating the narrative. We are going out. And also, I mean, it's fascism, and it's authoritarianism, and you are ruling with fear. And not only is that fear being ruled amongst the populace, it's being ruled within the positions of government. And in those branches, everybody is always capitulating to dictator settler.
Which is so scary because he has this ultimate power. And later on, we get his rise to power, which is similar. We hate seeing
If
it.
there are any similarities, you are drawing those conclusions to yourselves.
your
We
own.
are just talking about a movie here.
We're talking about the movie. So then we're in the newsroom, and this is important. This is where Evie gets taken. This is where the broadcast gets put out for everybody to see. This is where the masks get delivered to the newsroom. This is where everything kicks off and separates Evie from everybody else. This is like the first like moment of that. Jess described this movie as 2 hours, 1 hour Natalie Portman with hair, 1 hour without. We are still within the with hair section.
It's like BCE.
Yeah, I mean, we got it.
ADE.
It's fun. It's fun. Natalie Portman, she's like a intern. I don't know what she does. They make her run coffee in the newsroom, and it is implied. They're like, "Oh, did you go see Daddy Dietrich last night? That is Gordon. That's her boss. That is Stephen Fry, people. That is Stephen Fry." And that will play out a little bit later. But while Natalie Portman, Evie, is at work, the cops are starting to raid her house, and they find her like blacked out ID, and then they start going through her like family history and figuring out what is going on with her, because she's a person of interest, which is just like so crazy. But I mean, it's the government. They can do whatever they want in this universe. But
Well, clearly, because they made her the fall guy for so many things. Well, we need to create a villain. Mm-hmm. Let's create it.
Yep, and it's got to be her. Her parents are political. It's this whole thing. You know, her brother's connected. She's connected. It works. But through the course of this, V infiltrates the newsroom and puts his broadcast out for the whole country to see. And that is a moment. And the government officials are screaming with the chancellor, being like, well, hey, it's the emergency network. You wanted it on every single screen. You said that. It's foolproof. We can't stop it. Like, you set this up. And V has infiltrated it. And it's a call to action. V kind of says, like, look, I understand why you let this tyrant take power. You were afraid, all of these things. But enough is enough. And in 1 year, we're going to march on the government and we're going to take it down. And essentially, I'm going to blow up Parliament. And we're going to remember what November 5th means for this country. And it's all going to change. And I will see you 1 year from now. Boom, boom, boom. Gauntlet thrown down. And everybody is like in shock with this. Everyone's like, huh. And the government is like, we need to kill this person. Post haste. This person needs to fucking die. So they film part of the, takeover of the newsroom and like the rescue that happens in there. And then, through an accidental shooting from one of the police and somebody else in the mask, they put that out to the broadcast people and say, look, we got him. He's dead. Don't worry about it. You don't have
Look
to do
how
this
amazing
thing.
we are. We're the government. Look how on our shit. We are protecting you. No need to be concerned or scared, citizens. We are doing this. And it just, like, all of it, especially when I noticed it with the first and then definitely in the second, because I knew what was happening, it was reminding me of, like, the Propo videos that we were doing in Mockingjay Part 1, the movie. I don't know if, based on the calendar, if that episode is out yet. But it did remind me of that moment, because I love what we have V doing as he's taking over, like Laura said, and saying, like, this is my mission. He's also I don't want to say putting thoughts into people's head. He's reminding people, this isn't right. What does he say? And the truth is, there is something terribly wrong with this country, isn't there? He'll go on and say, like, cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression, and where once you had the freedom to object, to think and to speak as you saw it, you now have censors and systems of surveillance, coercing your conformity and enlisting your submission. So he's having these very impactful, very poignant notes and speeches that he's delivering on the news network, the only one, the emergency broadcasting system, and has ingrained these thoughts. So I'm obsessed. I love it. Somebody do it to us.
It's like, yeah, come on. We see the example. Come on, I see what you've done for others. Like, come on. Like, please. Fantastic stuff. Now, if you have watched, I'm going to say two things. If you have watched Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, or if you have watched one of my favorite TV movies, Cleopatra, with Timothy Dalton and Billy Zane, then you will know Rupert Graves, who is DI Inspector Lestrade in Sherlock and is also Octavian in Cleopatra. Here, he's like the district, I don't know. He's a guy. He's a guy here. He's an assistant to the inspector. I love him. He's got these like black eyes, this like gray hair. He's like spunky. He like kind of comes around and is a good guy. He starts to really question things and put it together and, has a guilty like conscience when he's like, I can't understand like why everybody would do all of this. Like, I just love him. And I was so happy to see him here after having not watched this movie in a really long time. Cause I was like, oh my God, there he is. Oh my God. I haven't thought about him in so long. He's so great. Oh, I love him. So that was very fun. Just like as an aside, for me, but he's the inspector that Evie knocks out or like maces, and he knocks her out during this scene where Evie is trying to flee the police who are after her because they're looking for her as an accomplice to the Bailey explosion because they have her on camera up there with V, and she knocks out the inspector. He knocks her out, and V is like, well, I'm gonna take you. You're coming with me, ma'am. Come to my lair, which is awesome. Awesome lair.
She's acting like life is so hard. She's like, I'm going to be again. Why is she fighting? I was a mailroom assistant. Now you're going to clothe me, feed me. Your food is delicious. Oh my gosh. Why does it taste so good? Oh, because this is like a subtle, it's not out there, but this is the dystopian part. I use in like air quotes. Why does this taste so good? Oh, this is made with the food that goes to the dictator. This goes to Sutler. This isn't, and it's not outright, but if you know your history and you know little nuances and details, I love where she goes, that's where you put together, oh, she's not getting the same stuff. The people are not getting the same quality that our dictator and the people in our government are getting. So I love, like, those, like, you're going to feed me. I don't have to work. I get to kind of hang out with you and learn more about the revolution. Sounds like a time.
Surrounded by forbidden art and relics and all of the history that was probably in the British Museum that got like censored or destroyed or whatever. They don't like say that outright in the movie, but like probably.
Well, I mean, spoiler this whole movie, but when you get to Dietrich's, when he has his hidden historic art layer.
Yep.
And not just art, like rich history. A Quran from the 1300s.
And that's the one that really gets him in too. That really does him in, with everything. But we'll get there. Like Evie's mad about it. She's like, "Why do I have to live here for a year?" But to her credit, the next morning when he's making her an eggie and toast, she apologizes. She's like, "Look, I'm sorry. I freaked out. I understand what you're doing for me. I get it, and I very much appreciate it. I'm on board."
I did think that there were a couple times where I thought she was trying to do one over on V, and that was one of them, where she was just going to use her quote feminine wiles and use that to kind of get out of the situation. But I love that he does bring up the point. He goes, "They know where you work. If they know where you work, don't you think they know where you live? How else would they have found out and followed that track? If anything, I'm protecting you." And he keeps protecting her, and she's fighting it because he protected her in the alley. He protected her here. He continues to protect her, and she's fighting it.
She's fighting it while he's dropping bangers. He's dropping bangers. People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. Full stop. Full stop. And she's like,
you got a point.
Word. I get it. And she comes to him and she's like, you know what? Actually, I'm on board. Actually, do you need help? Actually, I will tell you my backstory and I want in. And he's like, all right, when I need you, I will come to you. And we'll work together. And then she fucks him over, which,
I'm so mad how she fucks him over. And I mean, the whole scenario, because she's in it because she also drops the line as she's giving her history of artists use lies to tell the truth while the politicians use them to cover up the truth. And fucking hell, hello, it's all over. Turn on the news. You don't even have to go far. You can go on the local news. And she is, because then we get to our, we have, while this is happening in our underground layer, we have above the soil our detectives who are like trying to piece things together. What's the connection? What are some other things that are happening in our government that seem kind of off? Because why is a pope getting $200,000 or pounds, whatever their currency is, a month from the congregation? And you later find out he has children and minors on retainer to do what he wills because he has one of his assistants come up. Hey, the agency has sent a girl. She's a little older than you're used to, which it was like, gross. Like, I cannot, like, I am disgusted. And I think I really wanted to just fast forward to that part. And then she's all dolled up. They have her looking very innocent and minor and the whole thing is gross. And then he thinks that she's like cosplaying into this scene. Again, he's like, well, you still look young for me. So he's already a pedophile. And she's trying to tell him everything. She's trying to tell him what V is up to. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is awful. I thought we were going to ride on this together. So then you have V out for the bishop because now it's like you're up against the time. You have the detectives who figured this, piecing together the stuff that's going on with the Pope slash bishop. You have V, who is a vigilante, and he was like, I know what this motherfucker is up to. I'm going to, take him down personally. And then he goes again, like, this whole movie is just disgusting. Trigger warning government at this point and politics. But she still tells him, and he goes to rape her. And then gets pissed at her because she's self-defense because, of course, men. And then you have V comes in, saves her ass, and then she's like, I'm sorry, and dips the fuck out that she quote-unquote, foiled his plan. Granted, V still kills the bishop. He cannot, harm survivors anymore. And on to the next. But I'm so pissed that even then at that point, I would have been like, actually, he's right here. And I'm not running. Let's do this together. Why are you apologizing? I'm very angry with her and her character in this moment.
And the issue of like, oh, well, you use my key card to get in to kill my, Prothero at the news. You stuck into his, all of this stuff. You did all of that with my key card. It's like, that is an asinine reason for you to give away his scheme to a rapist. Like, what?
A pedophile, not just a rapist, like a pedophile rapist. Like, it's just a double down. It's just so gross because he took your key card. Honey, you weren't going back.
Yeah, you're
already on the government shit list. You were not going back into that newsroom. You're persona non grata.
And they've already shared the watching Count of Monte Cristo on the couch together. They've already shared that moment. And she still betrays him here. Oh, it's so upsetting. violence can be for good. Violence can be used for justice. She's like, shut up.
Yeah, because, and he was like, you weren't complaining when I saved your ass.
Yeah, you were complaining when all these people that were attacking you that I killed. She's like, it's different. It's not.
It's not. I'm glad that she comes around. But in these moments, I go, your sense of justice, and I use that in air quotes, because it's what works for her. Like she said, she's like, oh, it's different. Why? Because you chose it. You can't decide until she eventually does. She's like, we're going to send a message.
And she flees and she goes to Gordon's, and Gordon takes her in, Stephen Fry. And this is when Gordon reveals that, like, he's gay and he was never going to do anything with her. And him inviting her over after hours is like this weird, gross thing that is expected of men like him. And
it's an optics thing. Yeah.
And so to keep the fact that he's gay and also has this extensive collection of like art that he shouldn't have, he keeps this ruse going, but like it was never going to be a thing. Like, please no, it was never going to be a thing. Evie, like, it's not like that. It's not like that. And he also says, bonjour, mademoiselle, and makes her an eggy the same way that V does. Like, the parallels here, are just really something.
Well, I think she was also like, are they the same person?
Are they the same person? Like, yeah. It's bizarre. He also has like a secret layer. Like, he's also sharing this with me. But Gordon is a white man and in charge of a television network. So when he decides that they're going to air something really racy and saucy and against the government, when he decides to do that, he's like, what are they going to do? Like, I am the most important, what do they find me, please? Whatever. And so when they break down his door in the middle of the night and fucking murder him and drag him out, he is shocked, and he does try his damnedest to warn Evie to hide. But like,
yeah, I mean, I think he was at that point to think like, you know what, you gave me, or not you, but like you and V-ish reminded me what's right. And I think he was like, you know what, better late than never for me to use my privilege, and he has a whole skit, like a whole satire skit on his show. And and of course the whole country is laughing. The whole government, populace is laughing. And that's also what irritates everybody, because now you have everybody in on the joke. So that's going to make an insecure person, specifically an insecure man, feel even worse and use his position of power.
But then we have V using his position of power to absolutely decimate everybody that was involved. And what were they involved in? The government is evil. And after the uprising, after the purges, after everything, when they were settling everything down, they had a detention center where they basically did experiments on people, and V was one of these subjects, and he survived, was the only one that survived, took revenge on everybody in the facility, burned it down, and then spent the next 10 years tracking down everybody that was related to it and has been methodically executing them. And we have picked up in his story as he's executing him. So that is the newsman, that is the bishop. That's also our woman scientist that he kills, who changed her name and became the coroner. And she is grateful for death. She says, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. And then it is from her that we get the journal. The journal goes to the inspector. And that's kind of what radicalizes the inspector. When he has this like hard evidence right in front of him that he's read, and then he presents that to the chancellor, and the chancellor is like, if you talk about that, I'm going to kill you. The inspector's like, oh, okay. Ask me what radicalized me. Because this is the moment, my guy. I was already sick to my stomach about all this shit. But now?
Because facts don't lie. And when you start hiding the facts that's why you have, I mean, again, yeah, it was 2005, but here we are in 2026. Why do you think people are pissed? Why do you think people don't want to be quiet? Why do you think you have to say publicly, myself included, I am not suicidal. I am not taking any medications. I am not actively standing by any high surfaces. You have to have all of these disclaimers. And now, again, when we're recording, you have government officials saying these on public forums. So yeah, this is 2005. Yeah, it was dystopian. It was it's not dystopian anymore.
It's not dystopian anymore. So when Gordon is dragged out, Evie is also taken. And this is where things get murky for us, the viewer, because a rewatch, you're like, oh, this is Hugo Weaving acting. He's acting
We're
of these.
We're getting into our Natalie Portman no hair era.
Yeah, this is Natalie Portman no hair era. Hugo Weaving shaves her hair. You know, we're shaving hair. We're being interrogated. We are asking, all of these questions. Just give them up. Just give them up. Like, you can stop all of this. Just tell us where it is. All of this stuff. And she is tortured through all of this. And Evie finds strength through reading a letter from Valerie that she finds in the stones in her cell. And it is through her reading her story, Valerie's story, of being a gay woman in the beginning of this uprising and then dealing with the encroaching, arms of fascism and, when did different become dangerous kind of situation. And then she's taken, her lover is taken, and she says, I'm going to die here. And she has the infection marks because the government is doing biological experiments on all of these people. That's the thing. There are like three biological sites.
The school, the water, and public transit.
And the inspector is putting all of this together and he's piecing all of this together. And so that part of the plot is happening as Natalie Portman is getting radicalized. And it is through her finding strength through Natalie's story that when, in her final interrogation, they say, take her out back and shoot her like a dog. She accepts her fate completely with utter calm. And in that moment, Hugo Weaving lets her go. Like, he lets her go.
That is fucking crazy. And I think that was also a mind fuck for her too. She's like, it was you? Because then she also goes into manic laughter. And I think she's even lost, is this relief?
Yeah, because she walks out of the cell, because he walks out, unlocks the cell. She walks out. The guards in the cell are dummies. All the doors are unlocked. She walks up and she's back in, like the jukebox kind of lobby room with V. And she's like, it was you the whole time. You did this to me. Like, I hate you. She has a breakdown. And he's like, go back to that feeling. Go back to that calm. Go back to that numb feeling. Like, no one can stop you now. He takes her up to the roof and she has her arms up in the rain moment, which is again mirrored with V with his fire roaring moment. Like, there are two pieces, water, fire, all of this. The symbolism again.
Oh,
right? Like, the symbolism is just wonderful. And so, all of this, and she has her moment, and then she comes back down and she's like, okay, thanks, bye. Bye. He goes, where are you going to go? She's like, I don't know. Bye.
This was the other part that I thought she was trying to dupe him over when she goes, I'm feeling dizzy. I need air. I mean, and essentially it is what she did because she says bye after being out in the rain. But I also feel that she's had acceptance in this moment, whereas before she was running from him and now she's just running towards the next thing.
And V says, like, all right, you can go. Of course, there are no more locked doors here for you, Evie, but please, can I see you again before everything happens on November the 5th? And she says, yes, absolutely. They almost have like a little bit of a mask kiss right here. Almost. And then she leaves. And he does this wonderful freak out. And this is when you know it's kind of a love story, because she leaves and he does the classic Beauty and the Beast thing. And like he rips off his mask and he starts roaring and like trashing the place. And he's like, ah, ah, ah. He's like sobbing into his hands. Like, I love that shit. Go off, King. Like, you know, express your emotions. I get it. And that's great. Like that's when it's like, oh, there really is like another side to this, Jess. Like you were right all along. Like the vibes were always there. Like you were correct.
And usually I love, and I was like, oh, I told me so. But I think I had suppressed the romance and I was just like, yeah, anarchy. Then I was like, oh wait, it's back. Okay.
It's back. So Natalie Portman goes on little side quests, like whatever. But V is busy. V puts on his makeup and his fake beard and his hat, and he goes to St. Mary's, memorial, and he tells the inspector a story, and that story connects all of the people, places, and things that were rolling around in the inspector's head, and organizes it all for him and tells him, like, you know, the chancellor and the pharmaceuticals and the courts and like, you know, all of this and the surveillance, and it's all together, and all of this is, you know, St. Mary's, and it's all related. Everything is, you know, really bad. It's all really, really bad. And they're trying to do like the super soldier kind of thing, and the biological weapon to test on the people. It's all bad. The government is corrupt.
And how they're working with Big Pharma. That was another thing. I was like, of course they fucking are, because this isn't dystopian anymore.
Yep. And they say, what? So what are we going to do? And V says, put surveillance on Creedy. And when you have surveillance on Creedy, I will be in contact with you again. So they do that. And Creedy goes in his greenhouse, creepy Creedy, and V cuts a deal with him. And V goes in there and he's like, hey, you're creepy, by the way. But you're going to be the fall guy, right? You know that? You know you're going to be the fall guy? Okay. So let's kind of like undercut you being the fall guy, and let's double cross the chancellor. And I will let you go if you bring me the chancellor. And Creedy's like, all right, yeah, bet. Fine. Fine. We have a deal, sir. Give me him. And he's like, okay, I mean, that's fine. And then we have a timeline, which, you know, I love.
We've had a timeline since the beginning of the movie, and I know
we have a check-in though, and it's 347 days. It has been 347 days, so we have just a few days left. And this is important because when it has been 347 days, we only have these few days left. We have our girl who was leaning out the window in the very beginning say, "Hey, do you hear the music?" Starting to, you know, do graffiti. The populace is really starting to get antsy.
No, continue, because I know that, because it's like how we've seen this girl, because, you know, it's I don't want to say movie magic. You knew she was going to be important because we have been seeing her since the beginning of this, when she's engaging with the news, when she's watching TV, when she's laughing at the satire. So and she is a girl. She is like tween age, but this is a message that's impacting the youth. She is a symbol of the youth, and she continues to be like, I don't want to get caught, because Natalie Portman sees her, Evie sees her, and she runs away because she doesn't want to get in trouble. But as a symbol of youth, and as people are talking, and as people are getting antsy, she's losing that fear because she gets caught. She's wearing the mask and she gets shot.
It's just, it's the natural progression, yeah?
Yeah, it's the natural progression. And also to say at this point, hundreds of thousands of masks have gone out to the city. So everybody is wearing them. Nobody knows. Of course, we have, you know, law enforcement who's very trigger happy and feel threatened for no reason because all she was doing was graffitiing on a wall. And then once the mask is removed, it amplifies the antsiness and the frustration and the anger and the what the fuckness, for lack of a better word, that people are holding their government accountable. And the government doesn't like that. And they don't know what to do with that, because now everybody's saying you just openly murdered a child in broad daylight in public. Now we are holding you accountable. We are asking you for answers, and they don't have any. But this is just a dystopian movie from 2005.
There's a really sick-ass domino kind of scene here. I mean, it's pretty badass. And then, you know, there's like the lynch, the little piece at the
yeah,
end.
that was very, I was like,
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That's her. There she is. Excellent stuff. Okay, so here's the day where it's November 5th. It's the day. Evie's at the jukebox. I miss you. I thought of you, you know, all the time. And then Evie says, essentially, I'm a changed person. She says that my colleague was behind me at the store, and I was so nervous I dropped my money, and she picked it up and she gave it back to me. She looked me in my face and she didn't recognize me. That's when I realized that, like, you have changed me more than, you know, da-da-da-da-da. She's been radicalized. Awesome. Will you dance with me? Yes, absolutely. They dance. I love it. It's amazing. Fantastic. He goes, I have a gift for you. And he takes her to the underground and he gives her the gift of deciding to blow up Parliament or not. I mean, the standards, people, like, come on. It's good stuff. He's like, I realized that, like, you know, I had more to live for than just my, like, revenge and my vengeance. Like, you are here, and, like, you are just a part of this too. Like, you can make the decision, you know, all of these feelings that I have. And, there's a confession, right? Like,
I mean, there's a confession he loves her. Mm-hmm. And, well, this isn't the part where she confesses her love either, but
this is a kiss.
Yeah, we get our mask kiss. We get our mask kiss. And this is where I was like, yay, I'm right.
But he can't. He goes, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
It's very dramatic. It's very dramatic.
Of course, he's a thespian. Of course, he's about the theatrics. I mean, he's walking around with a mask and a cape and a wig. Of course, he's into the theatrics. But yeah, she has this decision. She thinks it's all this, like, you can't put this on me. I'm just supposed to be kind of, I don't even want to say a free agent. I'm just passionate about the cause. I don't want to actually act on said radicalism yet. But at the same time, they part, and they also, you have V meeting up with the rest of the government who try to kill him. And he goes, tell you what, you can kill me, but if I survive, it's over for you motherfuckers. And he survives. And I was like, of course he's wearing Kevlar or something. I mean, he isn't. He is wearing something strong enough that holds, like, it's not bulletproof because he dies from the wounds that they eventually shoot him from, but not before he fucks everybody up, kills everybody, and then he's like, oh, thank God I don't have to save face anymore. Goes back to his lair tunnel section of the tube that has been abandoned for years, and Evie confesses her love for him as well. And she's like, don't leave me. And he's like, you gave me the gift. This is actually the only gift that I really wanted.
And he dies in her arms. Like, just, you know, and she doesn't unmask him, which I find very respectful. It's not even a thought. She doesn't even, I love it.
Because it's also like, I love who you are as a person and what your beliefs are, which is interesting because at the beginning, she's like, I don't know anything about you and you know all these things about me. But I think it's also, you know, you want to talk about symbolism. Sometimes you don't need to know all of the nitty gritty, but you can still know who a person is at their core of the type of being and, you know, how they carry themselves and how they live through life. And that was enough for her.
It was enough for her. It's enough for me too. Damn. While this is happening, the entire populace is marching on Parliament. And because all of the government is dead, there is nobody to give the army command. So it's like, do we shoot on these people or do we not shoot on these people? They don't shoot on the people. Everybody is in the square, and the inspector now has made it, because the inspector knew it was going to be the train. He always knew it was going to be the train. Everyone dismissed him and said it was not going to be the train. He went to the train anyway. And so the inspector goes to the train. He sees Natalie Portman. He pulls his gun on her. He says, stop. She goes, fuck off. He goes, stop. She goes, fuck off. He goes, stop. She goes, I'm going to do it. He goes, okay, do it. I mean, his resistance was like, no.
He folded quicker than she did. I think it was real. I don't even want to say he folded. I think he felt like obligated to be like, don't do it. You know, when you're I don't want to say, you know, when you're raised a certain way, and I say this as women, where we're always taught to always apologize and say, I'm sorry. Even if you're not sorry, that is where I feel like he said, like, you should stop because I'm a detective. And then she said no. And he's like, oh, you're right. No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, pull the
I feel like he felt like he had to say it. He didn't actually want to
Stop. So she pulls the lever. Of course she does. And she like skedaddles out of the train real fast. Yeah. Woo. She pulls the right lever. And V's body is in there with all the roses. There's a shit ton of roses. We don't know where they came from. She got them quickly. Whatever. It looks great. And off he goes, this enormous train, his body packed to the gills with explosives. And she and the inspector are just looking at each other like, well, we did that. All right. And he goes, you know, who was he? He goes, he was the Count of Monte Cristo. He was my father, my mother, my brother, my sister. He was me. He was you. He was all of us. And Parliament explodes as 1812 plays. Revolution.
Lovely. It's amazing. More of that, please.
More of that, please. And, you know, that's the end of the movie. Jessica Marie, thoughts, feelings, reactions. This is your first time here. How do we feel?
I am so glad that I didn't watch it when it came out. I'm so glad. I'm glad that I watched it now. I'm glad that I didn't watch it last year or the year before. I feel like this is a movie that if you haven't watched recently, watch it again. Watch it now. This is a movie that you want to talk about physical fucking media. This is one of them. Absolutely should have. It was amazing. And I can absolutely see why it will not be re-released in theaters for its anniversary. Because that would be something. I'm worried if like my door is going to get like knocked in any second because of this episode. Please help me. Yeah. I mean, how are you feeling? Because I know this isn't one of those movies that you've watched on repeat, but you had watching it for this episode, the purposes of this episode, and then from your first watch, how has that? I mean, obviously the experiences have changed, but what was something that stood out to you more in your feelings of it?
It was fun the first time I saw it. You know, it was fun. It was escapism. It was out in the same year as Sin City, which is another fucking banger movie. But so it was very much like those were kind of the two things that were bumping around at the time. And it was fun. It was different. It was dark. It was edgy. It was not something that everybody was seeing. It was like kind of niche. It was kind of, you know, you had to know. It was cool. It was just like one of those things. It was not like mainstream yet. It had not, V for Vendetta had not like permeated the culture in the way that it has now. So again, it is, I cannot wait for you to read 1984. I really just keep sticking to that because this and that are just two peas in a pod, and it is going to be magnificent to have this kind of comparison and to be feeling this way because this thing that started off as a fantasy, you know, kind of fun in 2005 is now too real, just like the Hunger Games is now too real. And it makes us uncomfortable. And of course, that is kind of the enduring trait of good art, is to make you feel a certain way, and a lot of it is to make you feel uncomfortable in a way that is thought provoking and beneficial to change and ideas and that kind of thing. So in that way, make sure you have a goddamn DVD player or something, because this is one that they'll take from us, right? Like, this is one that's going to go. Physical media, this one, because it is so important to have things that make you think and make that spark inside of you, flare. Because there is so much out there that is trying to smother that it is something that we need to cultivate, that revolutionary spark, because if you don't feed that, it will die. And it is so important to keep that fire going and to keep feeling like you can do something, because it is in complacency that we really lose all of it.
No, I love it. And that's exactly the message that V was saying. He goes, hey, remember, you've been forgetting Guy Fawkes Day. Remember who he was, what he stood for. And here's some quotes as a reminder from me to stimulate those interests and passions. But with all of that being said, feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura, ACOFAE Jessica. Feel free to rate us 5 stars on whatever listening platforms you are enjoying us on. We'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.